can spell checkers miss incorrect vocabulary? Imagine typing out a message or an essay and feeling confident because the spell checker didn't flag any errors. But does that mean your vocabulary is perfect? Not necessarily. Spell checkers are helpful tools, but they don't catch everything. They mainly compare your words to their built-in dictionaries to find misspelled words. If a word is spelled correctly but used wrong, the spell checker usually won't notice. For example, if you write there when you mean there, the spell checker won't flag it because both words are spelled correctly. The problem is that these words sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. This is called a homophone. Spell checkers can't tell if you've used the right one in your sentence. Another common issue is misused words. Sometimes you might use affect instead of effect. Both are correct words, but they don't mean the same thing. The spell checker won't catch this mistake because both words are in its dictionary. It only checks if the spelling is right, not if the word fits the context. Proper nouns and technical terms are also tricky. If you mention a place or a person's name that isn't in the spell checker's dictionary, it might flag it as wrong, even if it's correct. This can happen with brand names, scientific terms, or new words that haven't been added yet. Compound words and hyphenated phrases can slip past spell checkers too. For example, writing notebook instead of notebook might not be flagged because both note and book are valid words. The spell checker doesn't always recognize the correct from of compound words. It also doesn't catch missing or extra words. If you forget to include a or the in a sentence, the spell checker won't notice. It only looks at individual words, not the overall sentence structure. Some advanced tools, like Microsoft Word's editor, try to analyze the context and catch more vocabulary errors. They can suggest corrections for homophones or misused words. But even these aren't perfect. They can suggest wrong changes or miss subtle mistakes, especially with complex sentences or less common words. If you want to be sure you're using words correctly, don't rely only on spell checkers. Learn commonly confused words like it's and its, accept and accept, or complement and complement. Knowing their meanings helps you pick the right word. Reading your work aloud can also help catch mistakes spell checkers miss. When you hear the sentence, you might notice that a word sounds wrong or doesn't fit. Using a good dictionary is another smart move. When you're unsure about a word, look it up. Check its definition, pronunciation, and example sentences. This helps you understand how to use it properly. Adding specialized words or names to your spell checker's custom dictionary can prevent false alarms. If you often write about technical topics or use unique names, this makes your spell checker smarter for your needs. Finally, combine tools and manual review. Use spell checkers as a first step, then carefully proofread your work or ask someone else to review it. This way, you catch vocabulary mistakes that spell checkers might overlook. For example, if you write, "The principal accepted the compliment on the school's new affect," a spell checker might not flag anything. But a careful reader would notice that principal should be principal, compliment might need to be compliment, and affect should be affect. Knowing the meanings and origins of these words helps you spot and fix such errors. In the end, spell checkers are helpful but limited. They do a good job catching spelling mistakes but often miss incorrect vocabulary usage. To write with precision, combine spell checkers with reading, understanding word meanings, and using a dictionary. This approach makes sure your writing is clear, correct, and effective.